Hey everyone, welcome back to the Suburban Saturn. So today's episode is going to be a little different. I feel like this is a new pattern. Every episode is going to be a little different. But in any case, today we're actually going to talk about data. And this one is geared for you data pros out there. If you're a data analyst, a data engineer, a BI engineer, a BI analyst, if you're a data professional, or an aspiring data professional, this video is particularly geared for you because today I'm going to discuss the data landscape and provide you all an orientation. The reason is that a lot of times on LinkedIn, I get a bunch of young aspiring data pros reaching out to me asking for tips, insights, anything, I guess, to do with being able to give them an edge or an idea of what to expect when landing a role, or giving them insights as to what the data professionals currently do, I guess, Before we get into the weeds today, I need to throw out a massive caveat. When you guys reach out to me on LinkedIn asking for advice, 9 times out of 10, the first thing you show me is a beautiful dashboard you built on Tableau or Power BI. So let me be very clear. BI and data visualization tools are critical, and being able to whip up a dash and tell a story with a data set is a foundational skill. I'm assuming you have this locked in, so do not skip that step, whatever you do. It's super important. But this episode is about filling a gap. It's about the reality of what happens before you ever get to even open Tableau. Because out in the wild, you may not always be handed a clean data set. So when you land that first data analyst title, let's say Monday morning rolls around and you sit at your desk ready to build your first dashboard for the company, and your manager hands you a massive bloated Excel workbook and says, you need this number crunching automated by the end of today. So now there's no Snowflake, there's no Airflow, there's no open source stack. It's just you, the VBA editor, and a deadline. Welcome to the real world. I know exactly what that Monday morning feels like because it happened to me at my first data job at a construction PMO. I thought I'd be analyzing expiring permits and extracting codes for clean, beautiful pivot tables, but instead I was doing ETL inside a local Excel workbook using macros. When I didn't have a fully automated script ready by the end of the first day, my manager looked at me and asked me what the hell I had been doing all day. That was a massive wake-up call. I had been trained for the space age and was dropped into the not space age. I call this the wooden pole problem. It's like getting hired to build a bridge, but nobody gives you steel or hammers, and they just hand you some carved out wooden poles and tell you to make it work. If you're Leonardo da Vinci, you might figure it out brilliantly, but even he would admit wooden bridge can only hold up for so long. So that's the reality of this industry. You're not just an analyst, you are a problem solver. You have to build the bridge with whatever tools are lying around, but you also have to know when a company is so technically bankrupt that you need to get out to actually grow. So I built that VBA solution and he was happy, my manager, and I had to leave. I knew it was just not going to be the place that I was going to cultivate the types of analytic skills that I wanted to. That being said, it was a great learning lesson, a massive wake-up call, and what I needed to take on to my next role. I'm assuming that most of you guys are, if you aren't going through a traditional college education to learn these skills, you're probably taking some sort of online course or boot camp offered by Coursera, EDX, or some sort of accredited online institution. But in any case, when uh, when you're learning data analytics, you're probably taught that your code is like super important, that you need to keep it clean, document it well, make it readable, and mostly for your own sanity so that you can manage your own pipelines down the line. But the hard truth is that a business doesn't necessarily care about your code. They care about the answer. If you're a software developer, your code is the product. If you're a data professional, the logic is the product. No executive is going to look at your Python script and praise your elegance. They're going to look at the forecast and ask if it's accurate. So let's say you work for Hulu and the business wants to understand user churn across 30, 60, and 90-day cohorts. Before you write a single select statement, you have to define the grain of the model. what defines an active customer, what exactly counts as cancellation. If a customer cancels on day 31, do they get put into the 30-day bucket or the 60-day bucket? You have to agree on this logic with the stakeholders. So once that's locked in, you start gathering the data points, the watch logs, genres, internet speed, location. You aggregate all of those noisy real-time streaming events into a single clean row per user. If you get that business logic wrong, your code can be incredible. It could be super well documented and run lightning fast and, I don't know, yeah, just run super fast, I guess. But if your output is shit, it is completely useless, right? So it's going to be the same across any industry. Back in that construction job, the logic was totally different. We weren't looking at user behavior over time. We were dealing with government entities and shifting permit statuses. The grain there wasn't a user journey. It was show me the absolute most accurate current state of that specific permit right now. Different logic, different grain, same fundamental skills, translating the business needs into data realities. It's a mouthful. So you will quickly find out that to do any of that sexy analytics work, the data actually has to be ready. You'll spend 80% of your time doing the heavy lifting just to make the 20% analytics possible. If you want to survive in the wild, you need to master at least 3 fundamental concepts in the data realm. So, number one, relational databases. You have to understand how application data is captured and organized, learn the rules of normalization, understand why data is split apart, and how to join complex data sets back together without duplicating records or losing information. Number two, data lakes. This is the modern repository. Even if a company hasn't fully transitioned, you need to know how raw files, JSONs, CSVs, Parquets, are stored in places like AWS S3. And you have to understand how to keep that storage organized, auditable, and recoverable so you can actually feed the downstream analytics engines. Number three, the ETL pipeline. Extract, transform, load. You need to know how data travels. Let's say you're on the cloud and you have to ingest a new sales file every day. How do you do it? Well, maybe a file lands via SFTP into an S3 bucket. You use Airflow for orchestration. You set up a Snowpipe to automatically ingest that file into a Snowflake staging schema. Then you write a SQL script to apply your transformations, handling nulls, fixing capitalizations, applying business logic. Finally, a task writes that clean data into your target table, outputs it to a CSV, and fires off an automated email to the billing team. Understanding that journey gives you a massive edge. If you can only apply statistics to pre-clean data sets, you're going to be waiting around a lot. Be the person who can build the pipes. The secret sauce, stewardship. I get a lot of messages on LinkedIn from people trying to break into this field, asking for the secret to making it. And the truth is, mastering the tech stack is only half the battle. The secret sauce is really your grit, staying curious, and being highly creative in your approach to life. Try to be an artist, try to be an engineer, try to be a nurse, try to be a garbage collector. Whatever you are doing, try to be the absolute best version of it. You have to be a steward of your own life. Stay firmly on the side of the good and always be of service to life. Keep that connection strong with the people you love. When you sit down at your keyboard, you have to be a creative problem solver. You have to cultivate the ability to stay focused for long and uninterrupted periods of time. Data is noisy, systems break, and logic gets messy. But with focus, you will solve any problem. It's just a matter of time. So keep building, keep learning. And for many of you young unks out there looking to break into the data space, just know that it's tough at first, but try to work with recruiters. Do projects that show your ability to work across different technologies. It's not really about your ability to know Tableau super well unless your focus is to be some sort of Tableau administrator. But other than that, or to like develop for Tableau specifically as a software, being the product. But other than that, you should just use the tools for what they're good for. Don't over identify with it, right? It's important to know the data fundamentals. What is a data set? How to compose one, how it's captured in real life and in applications. And then, from there, the landscape, I mean, it's never ending. But at the very least, if you're trying to break into analytics or into like a data science role, having a firm understanding of the data fundamentals there that we described in this video will give you an edge, and building projects around those fundamentals it's incredibly important. So, dashboards are cool. Having clean, structured SQL code to show is cool, but in reality, being able to answer the business questions using the data that you have and having confidence that that data is actually answering that question, that's the real skill of the analyst, in the real world. The PowerPoint presentations, Tableau dashboards, all of that will be supplemental, but at the end of the day, it's only part of what will make you a solid analyst. That being said, yeah, and we'll see you in the next one where we'll get into the tech stack. Techscape.